non-clinical things related to the whole thing. And Dr. Alok will be handling all the clinical questions. Shreya, as we have already indicated, is a health and wellness expert. So if you need things that are related to that, she can help you out there. Manish works on a daily basis with multiple companies, and he helps advise companies on how to tackle their healthcare at scale. If a company is having 10,000 employees, how do they manage their healthcare? So I'll give you an example. Manish, recently there was an event of Solstice at ISB. Manish had organized in that event the entire testing, the quarantine protocols, etc., how they were to be managed, and how those issues were to be coordinated out. So we had kept a reasonably diverse group of people so that everybody can get a good advantage out of the whole situation. So I think I think we should be starting in another 3 minutes or so. So if any of you have those queries also, please raise them. At least we can start that portion of the discussion.
Mohit, a little bit of fact around recent uptick in the numbers may help. I mean, just to understand the kind of problem we are dealing with now.
So I think let's be blunt about it. As far as India is concerned, I think all of us know that yesterday we already crossed the 1 lakh mark. To put it in perspective, the first COVID wave had about nothing short. We never even touched the 1 lakh mark in that particular COVID wave. And unfortunately, we already haven't. Sadly, India, where the test positivity rate has gone above 10%. Ideally, if you are testing adequately, it should never go above 5% or so. There are a few rogue states where this is happening. For example, places like Mumbai have suddenly shot up in test positivity. Goa, a lot of people have gone through parties. So Goa, the test positivity rate has gone through the roof absolutely. And it is clear that this has been due to the result of basically non-COVID appropriate behavior. But we have to work with what we have. The thing about this variant, I think this has already been mentioned in the news report, but for those who haven't heard, this is 2.7 times more transmissible compared to the Delta variant. So it is spreading like wildfire, and as per studies, it is indicated that at least 14 to 15 lakh patients are anticipated to come at the peak of the wave. Now, Dr. Alok will be taking this in detail, but a very quick thing that this is a milder variant, so we expect less hospitalization. This has panned out the same way in UK. This has panned out the same way in South Africa. Because even a small country like UK, which is having nothing short of 1.5 to 2 lakh cases per day, that is an extremely insane amount of cases. So we have to keep these figures in mind when we look at what's happening all across the world. France is seeing a very high number of cases, and this is just ravaging through Europe and other places also. Just to put it in perspective, I mean, if you look at the total population of UK, that's nothing more than about 200 million, 70 million, which is about 6 crore, which is the same as Rajasthan. And Rajasthan may getting 6 crore population for 2 lakh cases, we can think it is unimaginable. But they are dealing with it. And we are able to manage that particular load also. They are able to manage that load, but the hospitalizations are going through the roof when these many numbers are joining in. And if India also we go to about 14, 15 lakh, we anticipate something similar will happen. So some of these numbers are out there for you. To put it bluntly, right now, France is going even more bonkers than UK because they are showing nothing short of 3 lakh cases a day. And even Italy is doing that much. And I would again reiterate, these are countries with a population of about 6 to 7 crore people. So these are not vast countries. 15 lakh is a conservative estimate, which is based on our testing capability. We expect that there will be a lot more cases that will not be tested also. The good news is this variant is very mild. And I have no hesitation in saying that it is already affecting even the staff at our hospital, some of whom have gone in quarantine. So this is a serious variant when it comes to the scope as far as population is concerned. But on a personal note, it is very mild. But I would not suggest, I think I'll let Dr. Saab handle that question, that we should take it lightly because, even though personally it might be mild, but the variation is significant. Variation is there between person to person. If only 1%, 2% people are, for example, and I'm not giving the exact figure, let's say a small numerator is hospitalized, say about 10%, then that person is not 10% hospitalized. He's fully 100% hospitalized. The agony for those people is very severe, especially for senior citizens and all that. So on that request, I would suggest that we should be very careful about it and going ahead with it. So I think in another 1 minute or so, we'll just ask Dr. Saab to just join in and we'll just start the session in another 30, 40 seconds to a minute.
Mohit, but as you said, it's 100,000 cases, but Omicron only 44,000, right? So this is little bit confusing to general public.
Good afternoon. First of all, I would like to welcome you all in this awareness program, and thanks to Mohitji.
Sir, with we'll just.
So on that, Doctor, I mean, I think there are two things. One is we are not testing that is happening even at its RT-PCR. We're not testing for everyone. What variant is it?
Basically, we are not going for genomic study for all the patients.
Yes, absolutely.
It is Omicron. Mainly, it is Omicron. It is more than 80 to 90%. It is Omicron. We are not going for genomic study, so we cannot say.
Correct.
Although Delta is there, but just see one month before, figure was very less.
Yes.
So where Delta gone at the time? Actually, Delta is less, and present scenario is only Omicron. So
Yes.
we are not doing genomic studies. It's a costly affair. It's not available at every city and center.
Absolutely.
So it is Omicron. You just see the different pattern in a family. If when it enters, all family members are infected.
Correct.
It was not pattern with the Delta.
Yes.
It was few members those were infected at that time. But
Yeah.
at present scenario, it is all the members are infected. So it is Omicron. And see the latent period of the incubation period of the infection.
Correct.
Just meeting today and they are having symptoms tomorrow or day after tomorrow. It is
Right.
1 to 3 days. That's the difference.
Right.
So मोहित जी, मैं एक ही चीज हर समय कहता हूँ कि इसके जो है कोविड के बारे में जानने के लिए अपन को सिंपल ही रहना जरूरी है. इसीलिए मैं सिंपल लैंग्वेज में आ गया हूँ कि आपको पता होना चाहिए कि व्हाट कोविड इज. I will just introduce myself. I am Dr. Alok Mathur and working as a director and senior consultant at Eternal Hospital in Jaipur and with Sony Hospital also. And we are doing great work in COVID for last 1.5 or 2 years. जो डिफरेंस आया है, वायरस की एक क्वालिटी होती है, दैट इज म्यूटेशन. हर वायरस की एक क्वालिटी होती है एंड दिस म्यूटेशन इज फॉर देयर सर्वाइवल ऑफ देमसेल्फ. म्यूटेट इसीलिए होते हैं कि ये खुद को सर्वाइवल की तरफ जाना शुरू कर देते हैं. स्पेशली जो एयरबॉर्न जितने भी हैं, इन्फ्लुएंजा एंड ऑल अदर वायरसेस, दोज आर बेसिकली स्प्रेड थ्रू एयरबॉर्न और रेस्पिरेटरी इलनेसेस. इनकी क्वालिटी स्पेशल रहती है सो दैट जो होस्ट जो है वो भी सर्वाइव करे एंड वायरस भी सर्वाइव करे. बेसिक फंडामेंटल जो म्यूटेशन का वही होता है. तो फ्यूचर ऑफ दिस वायरस इज ऑफ माइल्डर एंड माइल्डर फॉर्म. ये ट्रेंड अब यही ट्रैक की तरफ जाएगा कि जो ओमिक्रॉन या फर्दर मान लो कोई स्ट्रेन भी आती है, दैट विल बी ऑफ माइल्डर फॉर्म. स्प्रेड तो इन्फ्लुएंजा के अंदर भी स्प्रेड बहुत फास्ट था, इसमें फास्ट है ही है. अब कुछ अपन टेक्निकल चीजों में आते, जैसे कि स्प्रेड की बात करें, इंक्यूबेशन पीरियड की बात करें. डेल्टा में जो इंक्यूबेशन पीरियड था, ये अल्फा में था, अब इट वाज अप टू 9 to 10 डेज. आज आप एक्सपोजर में हो, 9 to 10 डेज तक आप पॉजिटिव हो सकते थे, पर इसमें ओमिक्रॉन में इट इज ओनली 3 डेज. 3 maximum 4-5 days maximum. Most of the patients, they are just having symptoms within 3 days. So this is the major difference between Delta and Omicron what we are having today. Now spread transmission, as Dr. Mohit has already told, that it's a very highly transmissible virus. Transmission, ये जो figures आ रहे हैं, it is more than that. जो इंडियन फिगर्स की अभी बात चल रही है कि it is 1.5, it is not 1.5. It is 10 lakhs. Most of the people, even we are not saying to servants and all lower economic, you just go for checkup and no, not at all. Just take few medicines, क्योंकि milder form है for vaccinated. The criteria for treatment is important is whether you are vaccinated or you are not vaccinated. So both those persons who are vaccinated, most of the persons, those are not in high risk group. What is high risk group? Those are having blood pressure, those are having diabetes, cardiac illness, and most important high risk group is unvaccinated person. Maybe of younger population, maybe of older population. So unvaccination is now coming as important risk factor for Omicron.
So
Those
one
persons-
question people have
Yeah.
asked is ki if it is dodging Covishield or Covaxin, why
No.
should we vaccinate?
No. It is not dodging basically. Symptoms are milder because of vaccination. It is because of vaccination that you are having milder symptoms. Virus is same. It is not penetrating your lungs and all. It is simple like URI what we had at least twice or once a year. Everyone is having URI. Simple changing weather. We just say that it's a viral infection or simple respiratory infection. It is just like that. It is because of our immunity. For normal viral infection, we are just having milder symptoms, and that's with Omicron also because we are having at least immunity because of vaccination.
So one of the questions that they have asked is what is the real risk of this variant so that the people here can explain to their friends and family with no confusion ki what is the actual risk of this variant.
Risk for definitely is there with high risk group. High risk group, we have already discussed that it's basically those who are having diabetes or blood pressure or low immunity or having cancer or on chemotherapy or sort of immunotherapy, or those persons who are not properly vaccinated or they are unvaccinated. Pregnants, children's, they are basically unvaccinated. Less than 15 age group is unvaccinated. So those patients having those are coming in this group of high risk group what we are discussing. They can have problems with this virus. So the percentage of complicated cases may be low with Omicron, but overall figure will increase with Omicron. For example, we had around 2% sick cases or serious cases with Delta. It may be 0.5 or lesser than 0.25% with Omicron, but figure will be 5 to 10 times with Omicron. So the number will be same, percentage will be low. And we are expecting at least 15 to 20 lakh per day by the end of January or first week of February. If we test properly, we are not going to test all the patients. Even we are not advising those who are in contact and they are asymptomatic.
So one of the common questions people are asking is what can parents do if they observe any of the Omicron symptoms in non-confirmed pre-teen pediatric patients and all that?
First, isolate them and isolate yourself.
Can I ask a pre-question before that? What are the symptoms of Omicron? Because it is different than the Delta.
Simple cold, simple upper respiratory problems, cough, throat irritation, fever, fatigue, and body aches. These are the common symptoms with Omicron. There is no loss of taste, there is no loss of smell with Omicron. It was with Delta. It is with Delta, but with Omicron there is no loss of taste, no loss of smell, but simple URI symptoms like throat pain, common cold, cough, fever, body aches, and fatigue. Normally, it lasts for 2 to 3 days maximum. So, when we should be alert about that, if you have fever for more than 3 days, if you are having breathlessness, if you are having chest discomfort or chest pain, if you are having severe fatigue, and if you are having confusion or dizziness, these are the warning signs. Those are at quarantine. They are in quarantine period and having these types of symptoms. Fever persisting more than 3 days, having any breathlessness, having any chest pain or heaviness, having some sort of confusion or dizziness, or their oxygen saturation level is less than 93%, or their respiratory rate is definitely increasing. These are the warning signs. Then we should go for hospitalization or for further investigations like blood investigations or HRCT.
Sir, one common question people are asking is how do you distinguish between a common flu and Omicron?
You cannot distinguish that. Just get your RT-PCR. That's the only way. Symptoms are same, so you cannot just. And in this pandemic period, one should always think that you are having Omicron and isolate yourself.
Sir, is it transmissible through deliverables like milk or groceries, etc.?
No. Very less chances by touch. It is mostly, it's basically airborne. So it's a very less chances by touch. And although hand hygiene is definitely recommended and just hand sanitization is must, but transmissible transmission is through airborne.
इसमें I think one way I think we can classify this is कि surface transmission is very low.
Less, very low.
It is primarily transmitting through the air.
Air.
If somebody touches something, it will generally not transmit. It will transmit.
Although we suggest hand sanitization, but transmission is mainly it is through airborne, especially when we are sitting in a closed environment with AC on. That's the high risk zone, what we can say.
Sir, another question that people are asking is that what are the, is it, if it happens during pregnancy, is it very dangerous?
Pregnancy, every infection can be dangerous. But as far as treatment is concerned, it's simple URI treatment with mild antibiotic and steam inhalation and simple paracetamol and all. If you are vaccinated and you are pregnant, don't worry, but just keep a few things what I have told just before that. You just watch on your temperature range if it's persisting after 3 days, or breathlessness or any other symptom. Otherwise, it is same.
Sir, if I may try to put this in different words, and please correct me if I'm making a mistake out here. As far as pregnant women is concerned, we need to watch them a lot more carefully than a normal.
Yeah, definitely.
Action.
For any infection, we should be much more careful for pregnancy.
So I think this should be clear to everybody. And just a small thing: if a person is pregnant, can they take the vaccine?
Pregnancy vaccination is not absolutely clear regarding the vaccination program, but not very clear about that vaccinations in pregnancy.
The question people want to ask is if they have already. Hello?
Yes.
I thought maybe there was an internet issue. So if people are asking if they have taken 2 doses of Covaxin or 2 doses of Covishield. Sir, just one more thing. Another question Mr. Satyanarayan has asked: if we have found somebody, if symptoms are mild, what are the first steps beside isolating themselves?
Just monitor yourself. Simple oxygen saturation monitoring, temperature monitoring, keep good hydration, do breathing exercises and yoga and steam inhalation. That's all. And just keep warning things what I have told to you regarding breathlessness and chest heaviness and all.
I have another suggestion, and I'm going to share this as a real life example. So, a couple of days ago, both my kids turned positive, and Namit spoke to Dr. Alok. And this time, the quarantine strategy has slightly changed. This time, we are isolating the vulnerable rather than quarantining everybody, because sometimes there might be a lack of space available. You have only 1 or 2 rooms, so you can't isolate everybody in the house. So, it is better to isolate the vulnerable population rather than isolating everybody. If you can isolate everybody, that is the better step. But if you are unable to do it, it is much better to instead isolate
elderlies and those are having multiple issues, medical issues.
And Amit Jainsi, Daksha has already answered that if you are not having antibodies, it will be much more harmful to the people. It is because of vaccination that we are getting the milder symptoms.
Definitely, it is basically those persons who are not having antibodies in their test, still they are immune, because T cells are very important in our immune system. So if your antibody levels are less or they are not showing any value, don't get afraid. You are still immune. You just go for now booster dose. That is precautionary dose, what we normally say. If you are vaccinated 3 to 4 months before second dose, you can go for your booster or precautionary dose now. Don't get your antibody levels before that. There is no need of antibody. 4 months gone, just go for booster dose now.
Another question people are asking is, for the third dose, should they change the vaccine or keep the same vaccine?
Same vaccine. If Covishield, then Covishield, Covaxin, then Covaxin.
But the data which is indicated according to foreign news, the government has permitted this, that heterologous vaccines are supposed to be more beneficial. So could you please provide more clarification?
With Pfizer and Moderna, they are saying, but with Covishield and Covaxin, they are not suggesting that. Indian government is not suggesting that. There is no mix and match allowed in our scenario. But foreign, they are doing that, mix and match.
But if it were allowed, should people go for the mix and match approach or not? That is the question.
We should go with our ICMR guidelines, not by WHO or international guidelines. I think Indian scenario is much better than US and Europe scenario as far as this pandemic is concerned. We have done far better with such low resources. We are doing very good job. But I just want to mention that vaccine and mask are equal. Vaccination and mask are equal. But just with Omicron, this cloth mask is not sufficient. At least we should go for with surgical mask, triple layer surgical mask, or with N95, preferably with N95. With Omicron is very highly transmissible. So don't go with your simple fashionable cloth mask.
So people had asked this question: what is better, cloth mask versus N95? So you have
N95. There is no doubt about that. Just have 5 N95 masks for 1 month. Just for one, with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Just keep 4 or 5 envelopes with you. And Monday, next Monday, then Monday. Tuesday. Just keep. So you will have 5 to 6 masks in a month. N95. That can be reusable after in next week.
So you have mostly answered this question, but I'm still posing this question because this gentleman has asked this question in a slightly different way. Is the treatment method different for the different variant? How much is Covishield? Basically that the Covishield vaccines are not working, and that this variant is requiring some different medication.
No.
And this is adding to some anxiety. That's why I'm requesting you. How will so people are now knowing how Delta mein treatment is going to happen. They are wondering Omicron mein kya karna hai.
Omicron mein I have treated more than 150 cases in last 1 week. More than 150 cases. Simple URI treatment only. Simple steam inhalation, paracetamol, simple azithromycin like antibiotic, and do gargles and simple antihistaminic or anti-allergic. All of them. Few may require newer drug. Few may require. Those are in high risk group. High risk group includes unvaccinated. I am repeating that unvaccinated is also high risk group, with having different problems, comorbid condition like diabetes or cardiac problem or some other. Then we can give if symptoms are high and if their markers are high, because we are going to test their markers also if they are in high risk group, like blood markers, CRP and all levels. Then we can give newer drug molnupiravir, that we can give And if their oxygen level is low or they require hospitalization, then the treatment protocol with Delta and Omicron is same. Same treatment with anticoagulants, with steroid or remdesivir plus minus. Then the treatment after hospitalization is same, absolutely same with Delta and Omicron. And before hospitalization or treatment at home isolation with high risk group, and if symptoms are persisting, then we can add molnupiravir in very, very rare conditions.
Sir, just to, I'm just counter questioning to clarify the situation. So what you have just suggested is that we do simple upper respiratory tract infection measures, steam inhalation, etc. for majority of the patients.
99%. 99%.
If the symptoms continue to persist, we go for molnupiravir. I'm sorry, I'm not able to say the name of the drug.
Molnupiravir.
Molnupiravir. And if things are still not improving, we rush to the hospital, and then the rest of the treatment will be similar to Delta.
Similar to Delta.
So a question which people are asking is, when do we decide that we need to rush to the hospital?
If you have any breathlessness, if your oxygen saturation is low, you are having dizziness, you are having fever persisting more than 3 days. Just repeating those. If your fever is more than 3 days, if you are having breathlessness, if your saturation is less than 93%, if you are having chest heaviness or chest pain, if you are having any sort of confusion or dizziness or severe fatigue, you are unable to get out of bed, then you must go for hospitalization, or you just go to emergency and check. And if you are having comorbid conditions, different comorbid condition like kidney problem, diabetes, or any other issue, and if you are having mild breathlessness, even just go and check yourself with different investigations like Marcus and all that doctor will decide.
So if I were to again rephrase what you have just said, that basically if for comorbidity etc. take early action and immediate action.
Yeah.
Even if you're slightly suspicious, it is better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah.
So COVID in pregnancy, so it's वो sir ने answer कर दिया, but I'll just repeat. COVID in pregnancy is dangerous. Everything in pregnancy is dangerous. The same principle: early action, immediate action. At least when it comes to, so for any vulnerable population, Dr. Saab has indicated that we should try to do, be a little bit more cautious. If required, we go ahead for blood tests and all that. If required, we go ahead for hospitalization and all that. For the vulnerable population, that includes basically 3 types of people. High risk people like with comorbidities, pregnant individuals, elderly, and last but not the least, the unvaccinated. So, sir, a common question that is being asked, that right now the vaccination is only for the 15 to 18 group of children. So, there's a bunch of questions, so I'll just read now. What is the vaccine policy for 14-year-old children, 15 to 18-year-old children, and others?
15 to 18, definitely it's now on, and we are, I think, vaccinated more than 2 CR teens between 15 to 18 within 2-3 days. That's a remarkable figure with us. So 15 to 18 vaccination policy is same now, and lesser than 15 there is no study, so there is no need of any vaccination as such. Even if you are 14 plus or so, you should be 15 plus as far as policy is concerned. But those who have vaccinated twice and even they had COVID, they can again have Omicron with milder symptoms. 99% they will have mild symptoms, but they can have Omicron. Even they had Delta before and they are vaccinated twice. So those are having twice vaccination and had Delta, they can have Omicron with milder symptoms. So be careful about that.
Sir, another question that is being asked is, just a second, sir. A very broader level question. So we were promised that, once India comes to 60% vaccination, the pandemic will be over. Now we are today, first dose 65% vaccinated, second dose 45%, full dose 44% vaccinated, and there is no end to the pandemic. So
No,
ये कभी खत्म नहीं होगा.
नहीं खत्म हो जाएगा. It's now declining. Figure may be more, but seriousness or hospitalization or deaths are very, very less. Just see to that. This is just because of vaccination. Hospitalization rate, even you are running a big hospital, how many patients are with you?
अभी नहीं है. This time we are not having many admissions at all. Primarily OPD and investigations are happening.
I have seen more than 150 cases. This I told. There is no hospitalization. No hospitalization. लास्ट ईयर जब अपने सेकंड वेव में जयपुर में जब 1000 आए थे तो पेट्स की मारामारी हो गई. अभी तो 2000 चल रहे हैं, अराउंड 1500. देयर इज नो हॉस्पिटलाइजेशन. दैट्स द बेनिफिट विद वैक्सीनेशन. यूआरआई यू विल हैव. पहले भी तो होते ही थे इन्फेक्शन. गला खराब सबका ही होता था. सीजन में 1-2 बार सबके ही होते थे. एक आध दिन का फीवर आता ही था. तब तो इवन डॉक्टर के पास भी कोई कंसल्टेशन के लिए नहीं जाता था. खुद ही ट्रीटमेंट ले लेते थे. और आज जो है ब्लेम कर रहे हैं वैक्सीनेशन को, तो इट्स नॉट फेयर. वैक्सीनेशन हैज गिवन दिस दैट द वायरल इफेक्ट is very, very less. It's now becoming a simple virus. By the end of 2022, this pandemic will be Omicron or COVID can persist, but it will be sort of simple infection.
So can we expect that there will be some type of herd immunity after this wave?
Yeah, definitely, the herd immunity is there, but not up to the mark what we should be there.
The question people are asking: how do we protect infants? They can't wear masks. They keep touching surfaces.
You wear mask. They cannot wear mask.
Have we only one thing to do that for those infants and all? We ask them not to step out or something of that sort. What is the way out for especially under 5 children? जितने भी हैं,
Under 5 children को under 5 से ही मिलने दो आप उनको elderly से नहीं मिलने दो. We are going to catch infection from outside and bring to our home. We are responsible for that. They will not be responsible for that.
And what about parents who are concerned that because they are unvaccinated, they may be at a severe risk?
Go for vaccination. Kids.
Kids.
उनके कुछ नहीं होगा उनके. Even we are not giving a simple antibiotic to them. Just simple paracetamol for 1-2 days and they will be all right.
So again, Dr. Saab, I'm just rephrasing what you have told for clarity for the audience. Please correct me. We are changing the strategy now in this particular pandemic. We have to isolate the vulnerable population and not the general population. So if you can, that is the approach that you have to take with this particular wave. Get vaccinated. Go to your work. Don't be worried. Don't be anxious. But take precautions. Take vaccination, because while you may not be at risk, you are still a transmissible viral vector and you can inadvertently hurt other people. So COVID appropriate behavior and vaccination are still important if you want to avoid death and hospitalization. It's very okay if you are thinking, I am okay, मेरे को कुछ नहीं होगा. But आपके पेरेंट्स को हो सकता है. आपके less than 2 years वाले जो infants हैं उनको हो सकता है. Keep those guys who are vulnerable under isolation. Pregnant women under isolation.
And isolation for those who are positive is now for 7 days only. If you have no fever for last 3 days, and isolation period or quarantine period is only now 7 days. And there is no need of any repeat RT-PCR for joining your work. There is no need for RT-PCR report. If you are asymptomatic for last 3-4 days, and 1 week is gone, you just go wear mask and do your work. There is no need for any negative report with you, and isolation or quarantine period is just 7 days.
But the question is, how long should they continue to wear the mask? Even if they are out of quarantine, they are wearing the mask, they don't have symptoms. But how long do they wear the mask?
They will have to wear the mask.
No, 7 days, 15 days, 20 days?
Just continue as other persons are doing for them.
So, in other words, whether you are asymptomatic, non-asymptomatic, COVID recovered, COVID
This is-
appropriate behavior of wearing a mask has to continue.
This should be message to the society.
I think that's a very powerful message, sir, because we are seeing so one of the major reasons for the spread is that we are seeing a lot of COVID inappropriate behavior. Having a positivity rate of 25% in Goa is a clear symptom of how much partying happened in Goa.
We just see, I think few days back, one flight landed, I think Amritsar or so, coming from out of 175, 125 were positive. And this was just because of they were sitting in closed environment. They were sitting in closed environment. जब वो वहां से फ्लाई करे थे तब डेफिनेटली दे हैड देयर आरटीपीसीआर चेक्ड जब वो फ्लाई करे थे एंड व्हेन दे लैंडेड they 125 out of 175 were positive. See the transmission rate of this virus. So even if you are asymptomatic and just wear mask. I think mask and vaccination, I just keep them parallel as far as protection is concerned.
Is it also appropriate for people who have recovered at home to continue
Yes.
to wear masks at least for the immediate future?
Yes.
In this regard, I would like to just say one thing. I recently told you that my kids have just have been discovered positive. My wife and I, when we are sleeping also with them, we are wearing an N95 because they might be positive, we are not, and we don't want to accidentally catch it.
Definitely.
I can personally tell you, it is a nightmare to wear a mask when you are sleeping at night. I have no other words to describe it. It is painful, it is hurtful, it is shameful. But I have my father who is a heart patient. For his safety, I have to wear a mask. I have a Nana who's 90-year-old in my house. I have to wear a mask. Even if I have to wear that mask while sleeping. I believe me, यहाँ सारी ऑडियंस को मैं एक बात कह सकता हूँ, बहुत पेनफुल है, बट जरूरी है. I cannot emphasize this enough right now. While this session is going on, we are actually following this on the ground.
नहीं बहुत जरूरी है. मैं जस्ट एग्जांपल देना चाहता हूँ. फॉर लास्ट 20-25 days, even when I am just talking to my mother, even I always wear mask. So it is my duty to protect her. I should not expect that she should wear mask. She is 91. But I always wear mask when I am talking and just keeping distance. So it is our primary duty to protect our parents or our kids. It is our duty.
Oh, sir, the question is, COVID connects with the ACE2 receptors in the body and kids don't have ACE2 receptors. Are young children still vulnerable or can they just be carriers without the ACE2 receptors?
No, they can have full blown infection, but symptoms will be definitely of milder category, and they can transmit also. They can be source for transmission.
So, any other questions, sir? Then, while we will continue the rest of the session, and even if there are other questions, we will take it forward with Dr. Daksab offline. But is there any other question that people have that they would like to ask?
And there is no role of any CADA and nothing doing. Just go for steam inhalation. That's the most effective way for prevention.
So people are asking, apart from mask and that, are there any precautionary medicines we can take like vitamin?
No, there is not at all. Just go for steam inhalation at least twice a day. At least twice a day.
No, they are asking to boost immunity or something. They are not.
No.
Precautionary, they are asking to take something.
Mask. Just wear mask and get vaccinated. I think all are vaccinated now. Just go for booster or precautionary vaccination, third dose.
Another question that has come up, sir, is that is it possible a person to have both flu and corona at the same time?
Can be. But present all flus are basically Omicron. They are COVID.
So Mohit, if I can ask a question. So around the data that we have for like large groups, so we have found that 90% people are vitamin D deficient. And now I think from Israel, it's there is some study which is coming out with a direct correlation between vitamin D deficiency and hospitalization.
Vitamin D is related to all the diseases for last few years. It is
Correct.
related with heart. It is definitely related with bones and all.
Mm.
But now for last few years, it is related with heart, with diabetes, everything. It is related to that. So we cannot say, but if vitamin D is low, your values are less, then you can have vitamin D. But as such, precautionary medicine, no, there is no need for that.
Okay.
So, let me rephrase that again for the audience. And in general, Indian population are vitamin B12 and vitamin D deficient. If you are coming closer to the vulnerable group. If you haven't already had your vitamin D and vitamin B12 test, we would recommend that you go ahead for that. And if you are, start taking it for improving your life in general. Even if COVID brings you that additional awareness, that is good to have. But you should be aware even otherwise if you are vitamin D and vitamin B12 deficient. And just as an example, at a personal level, I am a diabetic. Every quarter, I get my vitamin D, vitamin B12 levels checked. And I take medication, supplements, etc. to correct it.
Yeah.
So, the floor is open in case anybody else wants to ask any question. Verbally also instead of typing or sending messages and all. Is it natural for a virus to mutate like COVID is mutating, sir?
Every virus, those are respiratory borne or respiratory route. They all have mutation tendencies. Even swine flu, we had mutation different strain. But normally they go for milder strains. Normally they go for milder strains.
But
Just
become
like
milder over time.
milder.
तो इसको थोड़ा cruel शब्द में put करें. If it becomes more virulent over time, it will kill the host and hence not propagate further.
Well, it's basically self-protection for the virus itself.
Correct. वो आपके फेवर करने के लिए माइल्ड नहीं हो रहा है, वो अपने आप को बचाने के लिए.
म्यूटेशन होता है इसीलिए कि फॉर सर्वाइवल. म्यूटेशन इज फॉर सर्वाइवल. नाउ इट्स सर्वाइवल फॉर वायरस आल्सो.
वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग.
एक सिम्बायोसिस हो जाएगा ह्यूमन बॉडी एंड वायरस का.
So, Dr. Saab, thank you so very much.
Thank you, sir.
And we really appreciate your input into this. And Janta, so far we have been doing a recorded session. So we'll now be giving excuse to Dr. Saab. But if you, and we'll be having a general fast session, जिसको हम IIT की भाषा में बोलते हैं fast session, to open up on the non-COVID, non-clinical aspects of COVID also. And so with all, with the deepest gratitude of our heart, I would like to thank Dr. Alok Mathur for giving us.
Thank you.
And answering questions. Another question that has been asked is: are flu vaccines important at this point?
Flu vaccine, if we definitely can be given, and flu as well as vaccine for pneumococcal vaccine for higher risk group. So these are the basically respiratory protective vaccines that can be given, but 1 month interval is must for 2 live vaccines. 1 month interval is.
So basically, continue your regular vaccination completely. Don't skip on that at all.
Yes. That's a separate.
What's your opinion about the various pills that came last year, like 2DG and some others? In general, how has been your experience with them?
Only 2 drugs are promising as far as COVID treatment is concerned. One is steroid and second is anticoagulant. Remdesivir is plus minus, and all the other drugs are basically of no value as far as treatment is concerned.
Even I think molnupiravir has had a lot of concerns regarding mutagenicity and all in the patient.
Definitely. So मैंने बता दिया ना आपको, only 2 drugs are basically
Hmm.
important as far as treatment is indicated in moderate to severe illness. In moderate to severe illness, most of the patients are hospitalized, and those are hospitalized. Only thing work is oxygen therapy, then steroids, and then anticoagulants, and remdesivir plus minus.
I
All the
would
other
like-
drugs are basically.
Out of the Delta wave experience, because at that point in time, I attended nothing short of 100 to 200 calls a day for people requesting beds. If you are on oxygen support with an oxygen concentrator at home, you're in the wrong place. You should be in a hospital.
In the hospital.
So if you are needing oxygen at any level whatsoever, do not stay at home. Go to the nearest hospital and get a bed. Please don't wait. Please don't delay. It is my humble request to the entire audience. There are many people, and Dr. Saab, correct me if I'm saying my statistics wrong. What our observation was that if a person is treated at the mild stage when he's just having slight breathlessness, the stay at the hospital is also lower by a factor of 2 to 4 times
Yes, definitely.
compared to if you come to the hospital at a later stage.
With oxygen at your home, then battle is lost.
So
if you started your oxygen at your home just for transportation, that's all right. But if you are just keeping oxygen for 2 to 3 days, then you are reaching to the hospital or going for ICU bed, then we have already lost that battle.
I hope everybody, if there is one message you take with respect to hospitalization, please take this message. That if you are needing oxygen for any reason, you should not be in the house. You should be in a hospital.
So
And
there
we-
is no need of any oxygen concentrator as far as COVID is concerned. For post-COVID or other pulmonary problems or having interstitial disease and all, if you are having concentrator at your home, that's a separate story. But those persons, those are just keeping oxygen concentrator at home to treat COVID at home. That's the absolutely rubbish.
And that means you may need it after if you are having an interstitial lung disease.
Fibrosis or any other pulmonary issue, then you can have oxygen concentrator at home or 2 to 3 liters for a few months or long-term therapy. But as far as acute things are concerned, especially in severe COVID infection, there is no role of any oxygen concentrator at your home. So don't go for that.
So Sandeep Tichkuleji has asked a clarification. So flu vaccine should be given to adults who have taken COVID vaccine to avoid COVID vaccine breakthrough.
With 1 month gap.
So I'm just rephrasing it for Sandeep sir. Sir, your normal vaccinations still have to be taken. They just have to be taken with a gap so that your immune system can develop them properly. We don't have to avoid them, and flu vaccine will not let a COVID vaccine breakthrough का कोई link नहीं है.
नहीं, there is a.
So COVID vaccine लेने के बाद में breakthrough infection COVID vaccine पे भी आता है, but it is milder and no hospitalization. That is why we are not seeing hospitalization. This is so taking vaccines is super duper important. We have the data that proves it.
Now this flu vaccine is coming with swine flu also. It's quadrivalent sort of vaccine what we are having. So that will cover swine flu and routine influenza infections. Besides this routine infection, we'll have to go for this COVID vaccination.
So I would like to ask one question, just as additional one related to medicines. So as in last wave, we had the shortage of medicines. I mean, favipiravir, remdesivir, and all. So in for this Omicron, will the favipiravir be useful, or will such
No.
situations will arise again, or something like that?
There is no role of any Fabiflu or Fabiflu or in this Omicron infection. There is no role. and the molnupiravir, that's a newer one, is required in few cases. So there will be no shortage of any medicine now.
Okay,
You-
thank you. And one more question related to vaccine. So as you said that if it's been more than 4 months or so since we had our last dose, we should get a booster dose, right?
Yes.
And in amidst of this situation, when it is most likely that most of the people are coming out positive, where the epicenter is, so is it advised that during such times when there are high chances that we might be positive, we should go and take the vaccine, booster vaccine?
Just get your simple rapid test for that and go for vaccination.
All right,
It's,
all right. So
it's,
basically, we'll have to make sure that we are not positive, and
if
then
you
we
are
should go for
suspecting,
vaccination.
if you are exposed, if you are having doubt that I can have asymptomatic infection, so just get your rapid test. That will take only 15 to 20 minutes for that. And if it's negative,
Hello. I think there is some disconnection issue at Daksab's end, but what he was trying to say, at the end of the day, if you are suspecting that you are positive at any level whatsoever, get a negative test and then go ahead for the vaccination.
All right, sure. Thank you.
We will be stop recording this session now. So, and we'll be sharing this recording with all the participants and all also.